Good day, everyone, especially to our panel members and to my co-researchers. A pleasant day to everyone. I am Jagger P. Mata, a MAED PE candidate. My thesis title is Body Image, Eating Habits, and Students' Motivation Toward Physical Activity, a Correlational Study. For the problematic issue, excessive social media use and online gaming. Internet gaming and social media overuse are also suggested to be significant factors in reduced physical activity by Henchas et al. 2016. Some studies found a negative correlation between online games usage and physical activity among emerging adults. Increased obesity among children. Children's performance in physical activity is an important aspect in determining their fitness level. It demonstrates that the lower the participation in such physical activity, the more prone and at risk of being classified as obesity or overweight. According to a study conducted at Peltzer et al. 2014, there is a large number of university students in the Philippines who are overweight or obese. For the interpersonal barrier, Baert et al. 2011 reported that the barriers to physical activity among young adults are composed of various interpersonal factors. It includes physical impairment, lack of time, tiredness, lack of motivation, unfamiliarity with exercise procedures, and lack of interest. For the solution of the problem, we have positive body image leads to active physical activity. Altonen et al. 2014 stated that the greatest driving element for adults is their desire to obtain good health, and one of them is body image. According to relevant study by WHO 2017, the degree of personal satisfaction with body image has a substantial link with sports activity. The greater the good body image, the greater the level of sports engagement. Additionally, good eating habits increase motivation toward physical activity. Individuals make food-related decisions every day, including whether, what, when, where, and how much, and with whom they eat. According to Desiree et al., and understanding how individuals make their decisions which shape their dietary patterns, as well as how physical activity exercise habits influence these decisions. For the research gap in the study of Kapkakova et al. 2022, Vasilian 2020, and Talka and Human 2015, the researchers discovered all three studies contained responses and participants who were college students. Hence, the relationship between body image, eating habits, and students' motivation toward physical activity among students is less clear, and therein there is a lack of evidence informing senior high school students within the region. For the related studies, body image, we have the appearance orientation, appearance evaluation, overweight preoccupation, body area satisfaction scale, self-classified weight. For the eating habits, we have knowledge, feeling, problem, and for the motivation toward physical activity, we have external regulation, interjected regulation, identified regulation, intrinsic motivation, and a motivation. For the research questions, number one, what is the level of body image of grade 12 students in terms of appearance orientation, appearance evaluation, overweight preoccupation, body area satisfaction scale, and self-classified weight? Number two, what is the level of eating habits of grade 12 students in terms of knowledge, feelings, and problem? Number three, what is the level of students' motivation toward physical activity in terms of external regulation, interjected regulation, identified regulation, intrinsic motivation, and a motivation? Number four, is there a significant relationship between body image and students' motivation toward physical activity, eating habits and students' motivation toward physical activity, and number five, which among body image and eating habits predicts motivation toward physical activity? For the theoretical lens, this study is anchored on the self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan 1985. This points out that the individual performs an action based on intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. And the three basic needs are the autonomy, competence, and the relatedness. For the conceptual framework, the independent variables are body image and eating habits, and for the dependent variable is the motivation and physical activities. For the research design, I will employ the quantitative research design and the descriptive correlational. For the participants of the study, the grade 12 senior high school students enrolled in the school year 2021 and 2022. Three national high schools within the division of Davao Occidental, specifically the Santa Maria West District, and I will employ a random sampling technique. For the research instrument for the body image, I will use the multidimensional body self-relations questionnaire appearance scales. For the eating habits, I will use eating habits questionnaires. And for the motivation toward physical activity, behavioral regulation and exercise questionnaire 2. For the statistical tool, mean, standard deviation, multiple regression, and Pearson product moment correlation will be used. And here are the reference for this study. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone, especially to our advisor, Dr. Porferia Puralan, and to our panelists, Dr. Arvin Andakal, Dr. Alter Rivera, and Dr. Roque Langcuy. By the way, I am Miss Vanessa Clarice Elliott, a MAED PE candidate. So I'll be presenting to you my title proposal, which is the athletic activities and achievement goals as predictors of learning effectiveness on athlete students. So my introduction. Sport is a type of human activity that fascinates people all over the world and has a great potential to unite people by appealing to people of different ages and social backgrounds. Sport includes an educational component and serves as a social, cultural, and recreational activity in addition to enhancing the health of its participants. So, in the Philippines, schools that has an athlete, specifically a specific special program in sports, faces different types of problem, like the program implementation, proper equipment and trainings, facilities and quality trainers to students who are involved in that certain platform. That is according to Raven and Vargas et al. 2021. So the school here in Davao Oriental, many problems were encountered, like the lack of equipment, facility, and curriculum implementation that were really needed for a productive creation of well motivated and competitive athlete. Addressing this hitches is very difficult, especially that COVID-19 pandemic has struck the entire country. So, moreover, addressing the difficulties of athletes in sports in different school could make difference on creating passive, well-motivated athlete and goal-oriented. So next, related studies. So the following are the related literature that will be reviewed to aid in the studies, analysis, and interpretation. So I include here my variables and the indicators. Athletic activities, training performance, regular sports participation, athletic potential, theoretical knowledge of sports, resiliency and humility in a sport athletic activity, achievement goal, mastery approach goal, performance approach goal, the mastery avoidance goal, and performance avoidance goal. I also include the success and capabilities of a good sports performance or strength and conditioning program. Also, the physical literacy, physical fitness, health advantages, cognitive development, personal well-being, and social integration. Now, in learn the learning effectiveness in sports, team processes in sports, passion and commitment, skill and learning, and many others. Now, the research questions. So the purpose of the study was to determine the significant influence between athletic activities and achievement goals as predictors of learning effectiveness on athlete students of the study. Hence, this requires answering the following questions. The first one, what is the level of athletic activities when analyzed according to first one, training performance. Next, regular sports participation, theoretical knowledge of sports, athletic potential, focus and discipline, resiliency and humility, harmony and unity, health status. The second, what is the level of key achievement goals when analyzed according to mastery approach goal, performance approach goal, mastery avoidance goal, and performance avoidance goal? The third, what is the level of learning effectiveness on athlete students when analyzed according to purpose and goals, roles, team processes, team relationships, intergroup relations, problem solving, passion and commitment, and skills and learning. Fourth, is there a significant influence between the first one? Is there a significant influence between athletic activities as predictors of learning effectiveness on athlete students? Second, is there a significant influence between achievement goals as predictors of learning effectiveness on athlete students? The fifth, do athletic activities and achievement goals influence the learning effectiveness on athletic students? Next, a theoretical framework. So there are two theoretical perspectives regarding the relationship between athletics activity and achievement to learning effectiveness. Uh, that activity participation diverts attention from academic goals or has a positive effect on academic learning. The first zero-sum model theory is derived from the work of Coleman, that is 1961. So, who concluded that adolescent society emphasizes peer acceptance and an indifferent approach to achievement goals. The second is a developmental theory, a reaction to Coleman which instead offered that athletic activities aids in the overall development of athletes, including academically. So, uh, the second perspective that informs learning effectiveness is the hypothesis of the study that athletic activities and academic achievement goals contribute a lot for effective learning to happen. So, the learning effectiveness that was developed by OT 2020, it was used to determine the effectiveness of their learning in the field of sport. So the achievement goal their theory was developed by Morgan, that is 2015. It was used to determine the goal setting of a particular sports specialist in his own field. Next, so here's my conceptual framework. So I have here two independent variables, the athletic activities and achievement goals. So the indicators of the athletic activities are I have here, or the athletic activities has a 8 indicators: training performance, regular sports participation, theoretical knowledge of sports, athletic potential, focus and discipline, resiliency and humility, harmony and unity, and health status. Next, the other one independent variable, which is the achievement goals, has a four indicators, which are the mastery approach goal, performance approach goal, mastery avoidance goal, and performance avoidance goal. Next, the dependent variables, which is the learning effectiveness. It has an 8 indicators, which are the purpose and goals, roles, team processes, team relationships, intergroup relations, problem solving, passion and commitment, skills, and learning. So, my research design. So the research method is descriptive research design, a correlation study. This is a descriptive, in a way that the researcher is given opportunity to describe many things on the study. This method is appropriate to investigate the significant influence of athletic activities and achievement goals to learning effectiveness on athlete students, and it is a quantitative study. Next, my participants. So the respondents of this study are the athlete students, and of the four identified research locals, specifically sports athletes in special program in sports of junior high school for the school year 2022 to 2023 are the respondents of the study. It is a simple random sampling. um, it is a simple random sampling, and there are 250 athlete students in total, with 110 in School A, 45 in School B, 45 in School C, and 50 in School D. Only the junior high school were the focus of the study. So, of the target population, the study will survey 150 target respondents to ensure the representativeness of the response of the population. So, next, the research instrument. So there were three sets of questionnaires that used to gather the information about the athlete students, the learning effectiveness, the athletic activities, and the achievement goal. So in learning effectiveness, it has an 8 indicators, 32 questions, a Likert scale. It is a Likert scale, namely 5 always, 4 oftentimes, 3 occasionally, 2 seldom, and 1 never. Next, the athletic activities. So it has 8 indicators. It has a 40 questions, a Likert scale, um, namely 5 always, 4 oftentimes, 3 occasionally, 2 seldom, and 1 never. Next, the achievement goal. It has 4 indicators, 12 questions, a Likert scale, namely 5 always, 4 oftentimes, 3 occasionally, 2 seldom, and 1 never. So here's my statistical tool. The following will be used to interpret the collected data, the mean, person, product, moment correlation, and regression analysis. So here's my questionnaires. So here's my sample questionnaires. Here, okay. With their indicators. Achievement goals, then athletic activities. So here's the link of my questionnaires. The first one, it is the the athletic activities. So it started from table 5. Table 5, the training performance. This is my reference for the athletic activities. Next, the achievement goals. So here's my reference for the questionnaire of the achievement goals. Next, the effectiveness, the learning effectiveness. So here's the reference of the learning effectiveness, my dependent variable. Okay, so here's my references. I just put only the research questionnaire and some of my reference for my RRL. And that would be all. Thank you.
My courtesy to our distinguished panel members, our dear mentor, Dr. Porferia Poralan, my co-MAED PE candidates, guests, and spectators. Good day. I am Irene Princess Amimita Baldestamon, and allow me to present to you my proposed research study. To begin with, the title of my study is Body Mass Index, Physical Activity, and the Self-Esteem of the Junior High School Students. This study investigates the possible relationships between body mass index or BMI, physical activity, and self-esteem, and which among BMI and physical activity significantly influence the self-esteem of the junior high school students. These are some of the issues we face today. Globally, self-esteem is declining due to dissatisfaction with body image. As the world battles the COVID-19 pandemic, obesity continues to have a major impact on general health mortality. Social media is currently flooded with weight stigmatizing memes and content. In the age of social media, children are more likely to experience cyberbullying, leading to stress, anxiety, low self-esteem, and even depression. We experienced significant weight problems during the pandemic because of the lockdowns and school closures. Children with little access to outdoor spaces were unable to engage in outdoor physical activities, which led to weight problems and other health problems. The World Health Organization recommends that children and adolescents aged 5 to 17 engage in moderate to vigorous physical activity every day. Taking part in physical activities can boost self-esteem and reduce stress. In addition to developing a wider set of life skills, children need to engage in physical activity during leisure time. Here in Davao City, there have been no studies conducted on the relationship between body mass index, physical activity, and self-esteem among junior high school students, particularly in Cluster 4, which is the reason in conducting this research study. Now, these are the related studies of my research. The following are the role of physical activity, body mass index, and maturity status in body-related perceptions and self-esteem of adolescents, physical and nutritional status of children, childhood obesity and self-esteem, obesity and risk of low self-esteem, and culture obesity stereotypes, self-esteem, and the thin ideal, a society identity perspective. Research questions. Number one is, what is the BMI profile of the respondents? Underweight, normal, overweight, and obese. What is the extent of self-esteem of junior high school students in terms of low self-esteem and high self-esteem? Is there a significant relationship between body mass index and self-esteem of the junior high school students? Is there a significant relationship between physical activity participation and self-esteem of the junior high school students? And lastly, which among BMI and physical activity significantly influence the self-esteem of the junior high school students? The theoretical framework for this study involved the Rosenberg self-esteem theory. Self-esteem, according to Rosenberg, is one's attitude towards oneself and how one evaluates one's own views of and feelings about oneself. Let's proceed now to the conceptual framework. In this study, we have two independent variables, which are the BMI and the physical activity. The indicators of BMI are underweight, normal weight, overweight, and obese. These indicators are BMI classifications that are adopted by the World Health Organization and Asia Pacific Body Mass Index. Physical activity indicators are low, moderate, and high levels of physical activity. The dependent variable in this study, in which it is the problematic issue, is the self-esteem of the junior high school students. The indicators are low and high levels of self-esteem. For this study, the research design is quantitative, since the goal is to discover how many people think, act, or feel a certain way. And it is descriptive correlational because the study will describe the variables and how they are related. The participants of this research study are the junior high school students of Cluster 4 in the division of Davao City, and it will be using a random sampling. These are the research instruments that I will use. The first one is the social demographic details of the participants, including the height and weight, which will be later used to calculate BMI. And the Asia Pacific BMI will be used. Next is the International Physical Activity Questionnaire, the short form, and the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Scale. The statistical tools that will be used in this study are the mean, standard deviation, and regression. The following are the references of this presentation. This ends my presentation. Once again, this is Irene Princess Amimita Baldestaman, a Master of Arts in Education, major in Physical Education candidate.